How's it going, everyone?
Great.
Happy Mother's Day, first and foremost. I'm always, everyone knows I'm always game for still having my interviews, no matter what the holiday is, no matter what day it is. And if the bands are game, I'm game. I'm always there, regardless. So for those of you who will be taking the time out to watch this interview, today I have an awesome special guest from Denmark. We have Social Decline. How's it going, guys?
Thank you.
It's
How are you
going.
doing?
It's going great. Yeah.
Well, it's
I
Sunday
appreciate.
afternoon here, and we just had our weekend, so we are ready to go. So we are fine.
Well, thank you for making the time to do this. Everyone. I was just telling them, I'm like, for being 8 p.m. in Denmark, it's bright as hell over there. So that's kind of cool. But I appreciate you guys making the time. I accommodated a little bit to make this happen. It's never a problem for me. And so wanted to introduce you guys to everybody. Would you like to introduce yourself personally, who you are?
Yeah,
What
we
you
could do
like?
that. So, yeah. I'm Bo. I'm a guitarist, and sometimes I sing a bit of backup vocals. And
I'm Jesper. I'm the other guitarist of Social Decline,
Mhm.
and lately we usually split it up. So Bo will be what we in the '80s he would be perfect for a lead guitar player title, and I would be more the rhythmic guitar player of the band. It's something we are trying to involve more and more in the band, to split it up, to get that old school feel. Yeah.
and then we miss out on. We have our lead singer and bassist Christian. He is home resting, and our drummer Esben. So we are four in the band. So
All right. Well, what's up to the guys who couldn't be here? If you guys, if they're checking anything out, and they got some questions or they want to throw in some commentary, feel free. As everyone knows, we do have a comment section. So if any fans want to ask any questions, I do pay attention, and I'll be happy to ask them for you also. And for those of you who like to comment, I've noticed one thing I've noticed about a lot from the comment section is certain people come up as just Facebook user. In order for your name to be visible and your page to be visible, you have to give StreamYard permission for you to use your camera and mic and whatnot. Something StreamYard, I don't know. It's a StreamYard thing. What's up, Rob from Concert Junkies? So, guys, I wanted to ask you. Okay, I'm just gonna go straight to it. So you broke your arm just recently.
That's right. Yeah.
And you said you broke it on Thursday, and you still had a show Friday,
We still had a show.
but you didn't tell the hospital on Saturday that you had a show, which probably made it worse.
I'm sure it did, but I broke it Thursday evening, and I kind of fell down in a funny way. What happens? Like it's a stupid accident, and I put my hand down, and immediately I felt like it was broken. I had a broken leg before, and my brain just told me, your hand is broken. It's not going to work out." So I wrote Bo and told him, "Hey, I think my hand is kind of broken." And Bo said, "Will you be able to play tomorrow?" And I kind of said, "I guess so." So I put on a bandage, like really tight, and then I have a couple of leads, and I gave it all to Bo, and then I played rhythm basic for the whole night, and kind of survived it. And Saturday morning I went to the hospital, got it checked and X-rayed, and sure enough, so now I have a big thing on, and it has to stay there for 4 weeks. So
that's it. That's actually not bad.
no.
It was kind of it's all right. It has to be checked next week, but I'm not going to bring up the concert.
And see, that was going to be my next question. My next question was going to be, what did that feel like when you started, hitting the strings? I mean, and you got to hide that anguish, your expression. I mean, I would have been like, I'd be screaming like a bitch.
My little finger, my pinky didn't work at all, and my hand was swollen, so it was in a bandage. But actually, after a couple of songs. I guess I just got hyped for the
Yeah.
thing, and
I guess you played a lot of open E chords.
I played a lot of open E's, and when we left the stage, it was hurting like hell, and I had to, I had to take some pain relief, and I had to just hold it with my other hand, and well, you have to say it was worth it, but then again, Bo and I discussed maybe it was not the best thing. But we don't have a lot of gigs, so I kind of figured, well, this is going to be the last for a while.
So yeah.
It hurt like
You just kind of swallowed your pride and said, "Let's do this." And how many bones were broken? How many do you have? Just fractures, or are you like broken in a couple different pieces?
One bone in my hand is broken, and it's kind of like what's attached to the pinky, the little finger, and I guess that she said it was a clean cut, so it's not that complicated, and it will grow back together, and I hope it will be fine by the end of end of June. Yeah, I will be able to play again, I guess. We have a lot of shows coming up in the fall. And we can talk about that later, but we're actually going to Finland, and I have to be ready for that. So, but that's far away for now. So
yeah.
Well, I never broke my arm before, or my hand. It's not the arm, but let's see. It's a wild story to say that you played a concert with your hand. It will stay with me forever. But
right, that's definitely a long-lasting memory. That's for sure.
Yeah, but it's not that clever. I know.
and Bo doesn't want to talk about what happened because he took over the riffs.
I got 2 extra solos, and that's always nice. So I won't say no to that. But yeah,
too funny.
It was not.
Well, I'm glad you survived the show. I'm glad that it was a clean break, and it sucks it's in your hand though, but it's gonna recover relatively quick. So fast healings for you on that one, huh?
Thank you.
So anyway, moving back on. You guys are a few years old. You guys your conception was in 2019, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. And
so you guys literally started just before the pandemic happened.
Yeah, that kind of sucked actually, because we were starting to get in some shows and we had a record out, and then as for all the rest of the world, all shut down and everything was canceled. But we actually played together in another band before that called King Carrot.
Okay.
Jesper and Christian are also part of that, and that was more kind of a hardcore punk band. And then we started we are all old metalheads, and the riff coming out of us was more thrash metal. And then when Esben joined, we decided to make a clean break and make a new band. Although there was quite an overlap of members, but and King Carrot was a bad band name. So
right. So okay. So again, it started under just before the pandemic. How did you get through it? As a band, not as
a band, yeah.
As a band, yeah.
It was not a life or death struggle for us, but of course it sucked. But I mean, the way we got through it was that when we could start meet up again, in the beginning, it was quite shut down, and we couldn't actually meet. And then I think we just wrote a lot of songs, because that you can do by yourself, and traded ideas, and then we used the time to record and make our new album, which came out here some months ago, Beyond the Gates. So we got the best out of it, I would say. So
right, and that's always a good thing if you can find if you can find the light in the darkness.
Yeah,
that's always a beautiful thing. So do you think that when the pandemic hit, that your mind frame, your goals, everything you had planned for the band, was it influenced by the pandemic and what it did to a lot of people mentally? Did it change how you wanted to go about what was the next steps for the band?
Yeah, I guess it did. I mean, but because all we had lined up with gigs was of course canceled, and but not as if we were on the verge of a big breakthrough worldwide, but of course, but I think it just gave us time to write an album we are very pleased with, and
right,
and we can harvest that fruit now. So I think we got the best of it.
what I think what really helped us as a band was we were Christian, the singer. He has a studio where we rehearse, and we decided to meet up during the pandemic as a band, so we would be together all the time, every week, so we could meet up, and then we could start recording pretty fast, and that helped the band survive the pandemic, because we couldn't get out of the studio, but we could meet and stay inside the studio making music, and that was great. And I think that helped a lot. Besides that, we had a lot of time with our families like everybody else, and it was great for me to stay home. The pandemic was awful, but I'm a teacher, and I had a lot of time on my hands on my own at my home, and we could play songs and hook up over the computer or meet up at the studio. That what we could do, even though the world was shut down for a while. But the pandemic here, just like where you live, was strange. It was like living in like something we never tried before, and I hope we never see it again. I think.
Yeah, it was a hell of a time for everybody. And honestly, I think from what I've seen, I have a lot of family in Europe also, but I have a lot of fans and friends that are between Europe and Australia, and I think all the other countries, man, especially Europe, you guys, they were rough with you guys, very, very strict with the government. They really, really shut you guys down hard.
Yeah, I guess in Denmark was not as strict as France and Italy and Germany.
Right, yeah.
It was not, we were allowed to meet, but it was just recommended that you isolated yourself. And then, I mean, it's starting to get a bit far away, but it's open up and shut down, open up, shut down. So
yeah, the back and forth.
One a bit strange gig where the rules were changing all the time, and then it was
all the time. Yeah,
I mean, 50 people, including bands and the personnel and stuff like that. So that we played for 10 people or something like that. So, but as a band, I mean, the worst thing was not playing live, because I mean that's a big part of it.
Right.
In front of people. I mean, if you can't do that, then at least for me, I mean, a lot of the point of making music disappears. So
yeah. So but obviously I don't know a whole lot about Europe and Denmark and whatnot. Now where you're from, is it just like a small city, or is it like a vast majority, like township after town, and city after city?
I mean, we actually live different places. Right now we are in a very small city called Jægerspris, but our rehearsal is in Copenhagen, which is the capital of Denmark, and in Danish terms, a big city. It's about with suburbs, 1 million people. So, and that's so that's a lot of music venues. Also, we can.
Well, that's good. They were lenient. Well, I don't want to say lenient, but not as hard with you guys during the pandemic. So it was probably a little easier for you guys as well as America to get through it. I think we were just stubborn over here. We just didn't. I think we were just like, I just kept saying everyone was breaking the COVID. We were just like, done. We're doing our own thing.
Yeah. I think we got that here also. But I can just second yes. But for me, it was actually kind of nice that, and I work in a company, and they allowed me to work home, and I can still do that. So got a lot of time with my family.
And that's good. See, even during the pandemic, I tried to stay away. I was like, this is bullshit. I'm being forced to stay where I always try to leave.
But, I mean, the hardest thing I think personally was watching our kids not being able to socialize, and I mean, we both are teenagers, and then that's a terrible age to be socially isolated. I mean, that's the time where you have to meet up with new people and go to parties and do stupid things, and you're not allowed to do that because all of the fun things, festivals, concerts, parties, that was shut down. So
it was rough.
Yeah.
But yet during the pandemic, you were writing your songs for your first album.
Second album. Sorry.
Or for your second album. I'm sorry, correct.
The first album was Hell's Gate in 2019, and then we just released Beyond the Gates. And that's, I think the most of that album was written during those months of the pandemic. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you were doing, if I remember correctly, I saw that you were doing the writings and recordings in 2020 and 21.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Also because we did it in Christian's studio, our lead singer, and so we don't have to pay for studio time, so we got all the time in the world. So we were doing it at like weekends and evenings, and then it kind of
Right.
took a while to do it. But yeah.
As I remember, COVID was a big part of recording it because Denmark was shut down hard from March till July the first time.
Right.
And then we went back to work and back to school, and almost tried to be normal again. And then by December, they closed it down again. They said not until Easter, anybody. And I remember Christian said, well, let's just start recording then, because we are here. We can't do anything else. We can work from our home, and we can meet here. Let's do some recording. And what actually took a while was we just made the numbers, the new songs. So the new songs kind of developed while we were recording them.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of re-recorded I re-recorded all my guitar tracks. So that's why it took so long. We had a lot of time because of the pandemic, and then we were not in a hurry, but then again we were in a hurry to do something. And then maybe when we started, we did it a little bit too fast, and then we
did some stuff again. Yeah.
When we heard it, it was like,
you just wanted to keep yourself busy, so you were rushing yourself.
Exactly. So when we gave it the time it needed, and I think, not to brag or anything, but it's the best music I ever made, and I think it's because we gave it so much time. So I know we just one in a billion of thrash metal bands, but I think we did what we could to try to make a good record.
We lost connection for a moment, guys. I am sorry. I saw you froze, and then I froze, and it went off for about 10 seconds.
Oh yeah. Well, we were just saying how pleased we are with ourselves and the new album.
Not trying to brag, but it was just like the new album. Yeah. We gave it a lot of time, and we were happy with it.
Yeah, we were all kind of happy with it, and that's not. I mean, you're always happy with something you do, but I think still now having started recording 2 years ago, and the album's been out for soon 4 months. I think we all
right. So the name of the album is Beyond the Gates, and you guys released that in February of this year, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So you had plenty of time to get that going. So you guys were actually technically being able to perfect it because you had the time to do it. So how did the release go? How's that been taken off?
That's been taken by our own standards, I would say. Awesome. It's better than ever. So we have, I mean, it's been played all over the world, I would say, in the US and Canada and in South America and Australia, and of course a lot of places in Europe and Japan and China. We're not getting millions of listeners, but I mean, we have shipped physical vinyl copies of the album also to the US and around Europe. So that's an awesome feeling to know that the people are listening to it, and
and you guys have that old school thrash sound.
Yeah,
you know what? It's a beautiful thing, because you got to think that's our generation. Mm-hmm. And what the music that was created back in those days, from Anthrax to Slayer, Megadeth, all of that stuff, that was from the 80s, some late 70s, and it's still huge and big almost 50 years later.
And I also think, I mean, we are all, as I said, we started out playing in some punk bands and stuff like that, but we are all old metalheads. We all love the classic thrash metal bands, and it was not like we were deciding we want to make an old school thrash metal record, but it was just like the riffs coming out of us was very classic thrash riffs, and we said, why not just do some music that we love, and hopefully people listen to it will get that feel.
Right. Now you actually have a little bit of a punk sound in you. I listened to a lot of your album, and I heard a lot of thrash and a little bit of punk sound in there. You got some punk influences?
Yeah, for sure. And we also 4 different people, but personally, I love stuff like Minor Threat and Black Flag and all that classic hardcore punk bands, and
Right.
and also guys like Agnostic Front and stuff like that. Definitely, also you can hear some stuff in our music, I think, that point that direction.
It's
Right.
It's actually, we discussed it a lot, and we kind of decided that we didn't want to put down a frame or any rules to the music, but just try to whatever popped up.
Yeah.
But I
Just
gotta
do
say,
you.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I gotta say that Bo and Christian writes most of the stuff, but when Bo, we usually come in with a whole song. Here's the design. Let's see what we can do about it.
Mhm.
And when we played through in the rehearsal, it pretty much all the time sounds like Social Decline music. So it's just it can be a punky or hardcore or thrash metal. But Bo and I are both determined to try to make thrash metal songs. So when Bo comes in with 4 songs, I'm like, well, it's that is what we are doing. I will try to make a song that's almost like what you are doing. So
Right.
that's how we ping pong it. And Christian is more of a hardcore guy, and so he will always put in some short songs where you get the point.
Oof. We are glitching again.
Oh, there you are. So we're pretty much, Bo and I and Christian, when we write music, we are 3 different people, but I always think that
it ends up sounding like us.
Sounds like us because Christian is singing, and we just play to the best of our ability, and then it will sound like us. So it's pretty much what we're trying to do. We are also very influenced by the German thrash metal scene in the 80s, which I think was a little more punky than the American scene, and I'm influenced by all of it, so maybe that's also why I think it's a little. But also bands like American bands, like the first bands I saw was Nuclear Assault and Exodus in Denmark, and I thought they were amazing.
Yeah, they're badass. Hell yeah.
So I'm very influenced by the way Nuclear Assault made music. It was like standing on their toes, playing as best they could and making the best of it, and they were a great band. I still listen to it a lot. So
yeah, definitely. Okay, so does everybody in the band write the music, or is it just a couple of you?
Yeah, there are no limitation, but so far it's been Jesper has come up with some songs, and most of the songs are written by Christian, and then also a lot by me. So yeah. So
what kind of creative process do you need to be in to write music?
I mean, so during the pandemic, it was because we were actually in the start, we were not meeting up. So I think it was very individual, as Jesper said. So we were coming with whole songs, and then of course we would process it in the rehearsal room and get input, and we of course each play all our own parts and stuff like that. But so that was the creative process for that record. I don't know how it would be for the next one, if we will try to jam a bit more and maybe co-write a bit more. But I think the easiest way for us to work is to do it as individuals, and then bring it to the collective, and then make the finished product together on a skeleton or something. But also because we have day jobs, and we don't have we don't take 3 weeks out of the calendar and go to a place and write songs. So it would be lovely to do that, but it's not been possible to do it that way.
Right. Yeah. It's especially in today's day and age, it can't just be. Nobody has one job anymore. Nobody can survive like that anymore.
No, and
inflation is just insane. You need to have 2 or 3 jobs just to barely pay your bills.
Yeah, Yeah, but I mean, we get by, and we all of us only have one job. But it was just to say that we're not earning our money on social decline. So, and I think not a lot of band nowadays
Yeah,
playing the music we do.
you will grow. You will get there.
Yeah, that
You
would be
got to
good.
keep pushing.
Yeah.
Eventually, you always got to spend before it finally starts coming back. We all know that.
Yeah, but I mean, our main motivation is, of course, it always starts with you want to do some music that you like yourself, and then, of course, I mean, we're just hunting those experiences, playing live and playing bigger and bigger shows, getting to
Right.
festivals and like that. So I mean, and so when we are touring, for example, it's barely a break even, but when we'll do it for the love of playing
Right.
in front of people and meeting new people in other countries, meeting other bands, creating connections, and that's just, I think we all love that. And
Right.
yeah.
So, what are some of the shows have you done since, let's say, last year into this year? Have you done any festivals or any big shows?
We sadly don't get any festivals yet, at least, but we're planning
Oh,
a big show in a big show in Copenhagen with 3 other cool metal bands. 2 from Copenhagen and one from another part of Denmark called Jutland. And then we are planning a lot of other stuff that has not materialized yet, but we are also planning, as Jesper were pointing to, a small tour of Finland with 5 dates over there. And we've never been to Finland, but our drummer Esben connected with a guy over there who was a very cool guy, and he would set up 5 shows for us in 5 different cities and arrange with a driver and stuff like that. So very stoked on that part to and then Finland is at least in Scandinavia, known for being a legendary metal country. So we got high expectations for that one.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So still goals. Yeah, you got plenty of time to make that happen.
Yeah, so we're always trying to have something in the horizon that we can work.
Oh yeah, definitely. You got to always aim higher. Just
Yeah, and then it don't need to grow to the Metallica level, but just putting on.
It'd be nice though.
Yeah, it would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But so during all this, I mean, you released your first album and you just released your second one.
Yeah.
And that is a 10-song album, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
What was your favorite song to record on that album?
Or to record on that album? Yeah, that's a tough question because I personally think there's a lot of great numbers, but we did this like instrumental, and it's called 26/04/86, and that's the date of the Chernobyl incident in 1986, where the nuclear power plant explosion there. And we play like this eerie, dark sounding melodies, and then we play that over the original distress call recording from the local fire station in, what's the town called, Pripyat, I think. So that was kind of a different thing for us to do. So personally, I found that that was a fun thing to record. Yeah. So
That's
I don't know about you, Jesper, but
what I think, I think it's a tough question too, but I think that as a band, I think we agree on the opener, which is called Trenches of Salvation. And it was kind of a song where we all had an input for the first time as a band, and it felt right to be a newer band, and then all have an input on a song and write it together almost. And it came along. It was one of the first songs, and I felt it was really great. And we kind of rewrote the lyrics and parts of it. And in the end, we put in the intro. We didn't have the intro in the beginning, and then suddenly Bo said, "Didn't you have something for something else? You could let's try it here," and just felt great. So I would say Trenches of Salvation, which also appears as a video, was the song that I think I had the most fun recording, and I still like. We open with it at the shows, so it's. I think it's still a great number. It kicks off really well for the record. And then I would also say "Speaking for the Dead," which just is a whole other feel. It's also a video, and I think those two songs are my.
Yeah, they came out very.
They came out really well, and they are not. For now, they're my favorite tracks on the album. So
I would also say I wrote "Speaking for the Dead," and actually it was very fast written, and I didn't have a lot of expectation for it. And I think actually at some point we discussed, because we actually recorded some more songs and we would only put 10 on it, and actually at some point it was like it was not going to go on the record, and I was just, yeah, that's cool. And but it actually is maybe one of the more catchy songs in the album, and it's been very well received and people like it, and that just show you sometimes you have something you very love when you write the number, and then when you record it, it turns out maybe a little bit disappointing, and some stuff you don't have expectation for turns out to be just
right.
It all pans out. Yeah.
Well, we actually have two of those songs now.
Yeah.
Very, very. I've never done this before. You guys, like I said earlier, you guys are going to be the first band I've ever done this with. I am very much an advocate of video promotions, and I always do. If a band has one available, I'm more than happy to put it up. But we're going to actually do two.
Oh,
So I actually have each of those songs. I have the Trenches of Salvation and Speaking for the Dead. And now Trenches of Salvation, that was actually just released off your album about a month ago, correct?
That was the video was released, I think, same day or some days before the album was released. So that was also from February.
Yeah.
And Speaking for the Dead was released earlier because and I mean, in this day and age, when you want to do some vinyl prints, you have to wait for like 8 months. So we were actually done with all the mastering and mixing a long time ago, and then we everything all right?
No, there. Sorry. It just all of a sudden a button came up. I tried to X out and it opened it up, and it's like I gotta update my laptop. So go ahead.
Yeah.
I apologize for that.
Yeah, but we decided to release 3 singles before the album came out, and primarily actually because we had to wait 8 months for the vinyl, and we said, okay, we have to do something, so we released that digital, and I think that's actually a very normal way to do it now, because every band is just waiting for the vinyl.
Right. No, you gotta have patience, man. Nothing but patience.
Yeah, man. It's like you spend a year and a half recording, and then you send it, and then you say, okay, you have to wait for 8 months. That was it's terrible, but
right. Yeah, that sounds like a long time for them. That's nothing, but it's like, dude, 8 months.
Yeah. I mean, but apparently there's not a lot of vinyl factories out there, but yeah.
Right.
It might get better. Hopefully.
You'll get there. You will. That'd be killer when it goes vinyl. When I love vinyl. I loved it back, when I was growing up, and the fact that it's huge now is awesome.
It's just a whole different experience sitting with a big hand. And
yes, absolutely. The old school albums. I'm waiting for 45. I'm waiting for 45s to happen again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, with your permission, I'd like to go ahead and put Trenches of Salvation on. We'll hit that one first.
Go ahead.
We'll check it out. Oh, yeah. All right. Let's get that bad boy going. Everyone, I'm going to play for you Trenches of Salvation, which was just released not too long ago. Actually, before the album, as they said.
I think, actually, it was a week before the album,
Yeah, there you go. But still, not that long ago, about, what, in January then? So a few months old. Check it out. You can get that in there. It's not cooperating. There we go.
This is an emergency.
Discharge.
This is mad. Let me skip this. Hold on. about that ad.
Yeah. I think you could just skip it.
Yeah, I am. There we go. Done.
Fighting against war, rule hell on earth, blood straight from the sky, Jesus will not rise, holy water is spread, when the wings are dead, our God will strike, with now a crushing breath, war machine, the American dream, fell off God the perfect team. Land to the flag, the God we trust. Man on the road and destruct them lost. The machine will rise. When humanity dies, rise of war. Unify in law. Rise of war. What we waiting for? Tragedy. Misery, caused by bombs, soldiers and industry, infantry, set them free, grab your gun and fulfill your destiny. The wretched Grim Reaper, from the fields of stand, we are inferior, no one is superior, crusades of hate, with the time in your face. Religion of war, we take the final score. War machine, the American dream, fell off God the perfect team. Blast to the flag, the God we trust. Man on the road and destruct them lost. The American dream, fell off God the perfect team. Blast to the flag, the God we trust. Man on the road and destruct them lost. The machine will rise. When humanity dies, rise of war. Unify in law. Rise of war. What we waiting for? Tragedy, misery, caused by bombs, soldiers and industry, infantry. Set them free. Grab your gun and fulfill your destiny.
Oh yeah, that's a badass song, man. Badass side. Oh, badass song, guys. Good to see you didn't have your cast on. Hold on. One second. I should not be having. Hold on. Shut up. There we go. Oh, that's funny. Okay, you should have seen what was on. Okay, so trenches. What is it? I lost it. Trenches of Salvation. Where did you get that name from?
The number was originally called Christ of War, but we are a non-religious bunch of people, so we had a discussion about not putting in the word Christ or something, but the song is about war, or every war that we. It was something I watched a documentary about a while back, where they baptized a plane that was going to bomb something, and I thought it was weird, so I kind of like made up as a spectator something about war and flying into a war with a purpose, and as from the Western world point of view. And then Christian said, let me have a look at this. and then he kind of, you can say co-wrote, that would be a fine word, but he kind of looked it through and kind of rewrote the lyrics, which I think it's a great thing, because he's singing the thing. So I can only think what I think he should sing all the way, but if he put in his own lyric in it, it will work better. So we kind of like co-wrote it, and we had a lot of text messaging about it, and called each other, and then we kind of like I was on a holiday, and he called me up and said, Christ of War, it doesn't work with me. And I said, so what works? and then we start texting, this will work, maybe this will. And then Christian came up and said, I think it should be Trenches of Salvation. Then it would be not just one war, but being in a trench somewhere.
And that's actually a line in the lyric, right?
Yeah, so.
Yeah. Now I'm seeing Christian, he has been hanging out with us, and he's been popping on. He said earlier, Jesper, that you are a machine. I don't know if you saw me. I reposted that up for you to see. He said you're a machine. But he also said that there was something wrong with the sound. Did you guys hear the video okay on your end?
Yeah. Oh, it sounded a bit funny, I would say. So
really,
it was like the sound was coming through.
I think what you have, as far as I remember, I'm not an expert. You have to turn off. We have to turn off our microphones while it's on or something.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It was the YouTube link, so maybe it was the YouTube recording itself. I don't know if it was off, whatever. Yeah. I apologize for that.
But they could check it out on YouTube if you thought it sounded.
Yeah. Feel that.
It was not the sound as you would hear it on the recording, no. So
right. Well, I hope the next video will be clearer, but we won't get to that just yet. I'd still like to talk about the Trenches of Salvation. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, what do you feel your Trenches of Salvation would be?
Wow,
that's a big question.
That's a big question, yeah. Mm-hmm. Our Trenches of Salvation. Oh, you got me there.
I never thought about it.
No, but I don't think a lot about salvation, to be quite honest, because as I said, we're not like released people. So I think, it's just about getting by. So I don't all those terms about being salvaged or stuff like that. That's not something that's on my radar, I would say.
Yeah.
Answering your question, but
we got Dead Reckoning from Georgia. Throwing in a little comment that I'm always asking the hard questions. I make it easy. Every now and then I'll throw a couple in.
But what do you say, Jesper?
What I would say is, like, when we think of a song title and English is our second language, we always go for, let's see, we are writing about war. What would sound like a warish song? So then we come up with some things, and then if it sounds good, it will stay there. If it sounds weak, not weaker, but it will not hang on. So that's the best answer I have. But what I was thinking when we wrote the song was at that I'm so much against war in any. I can't really find a meaning with it. So that's what I was thinking about. So if you ask me about a trench, I would say it would be a personal hell to stay in. So a trench of salvation is something that I
Kind of
cannot-
like an oxymoron. I mean, you got to think, the trenches of salvation. It's almost like an oxymoron,
Exactly. So I would think it's impossible to have a trench of salvation.
Yeah. That's why I was curious. I thought about that. I'm like, I wonder how that could be answered.
Well, we tried. I hope it's okay.
I get it. Well, you know what? I stumped myself, but I wanted to ask.
That's a good question. Thank you.
Mhm. All right. Well, that was an awesome video, but I totally get what you're saying. I'm not an advocate of war. It's basically whose dick is bigger than whose. That's all it is. I'm calling it like it is, and then I'm not going to say any specific names clearly. Putin, who need to they need to be dominated. Let's just put it in a completely different way, and just gagged. But the grass is not always greener on the other side, and people don't always pay attention to both sides of the story, though. And that's a whole different side that I don't need to go into, because that's not. We're not going to talk about the lurking of what can be our futures. But moving back onto the music, I mean, that was a badass song, and that was cool as hell. Christian, good job on jumping in. It's. I mean, you guys made it happen. It was a great song. Now we do have another song that I would love to put on for you, and it's called "Speaking for the Dead."
Yeah.
I got a couple of questions with that one too, but I'd like to play the video.
Okay. We'll
You
answer
guys
the
ready
question.
for Speaking for the Dead? All right, cool. Let's get that puppy going. I don't know what the hell that is. There we go.
Skal vi bare huske den på pladsen? Ja. Og så-
Play. That's trippy looking, by the way.
The passing of years, receding that man. Who am I when I'm gone? Burning complete reflection, what blind man remain? Beaten by the hands of time. Speaking for the, speaking for the, speaking for the, speaking for the, speaking for the dead. A voice of the undead. Speaking for the dead. A voice of the undead. When loving memory, reality, fate, and will like thee. Speaking for the, speaking for the, speaking for the, speaking for the, speaking for the dead. A voice of the undead. Speaking for the dead. A voice of the undead.
That was a badass song.
Thank you.
Let me stop that before it moves forward. There we go. That was definitely a badass song. It's still on there. It should not be on there. Why is that still on there? Hold on a minute. I have no YouTube links on, but it's still up there. There we go. Got it. Much better. Dude, that was a badass song, and I love the beginning. The beginning that was trippy as hell.
Yeah, it's a bit eerie, yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely a really cool video. Before I get into it, I just wanted to ask, Jesper, are you related to Esteban?
To who?
Are you related? I'm sorry, not Esteban. Are you related to your drummer?
Am I?
Yeah, you guys look a lot alike.
So I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Espen and I are
related?
we go way back, but we are not related. The funny thing
Okay,
is,
I'm just okay. Maybe it's just the salt and pepper. I don't know. I was wondering. I'm like, are they related? I think you guys look a lot alike.
No,
But anyway, moving on. Definitely a great song. So, what was the inspiration for that one? I mean, you're speaking for the dead. What are you? What's the message you were putting out there for the dead?
So, I mean, the song it's actually a very short lyric and about some basic human emotions, and it's actually in short about we all gotta go at some point, and who are you then when you're gone? Will people remember you, and will they actually remember you how you really were, and the stuff like that? And I had some. I mean, we all that's part of life, that we lose friends and relations, dying to sickness and illness and stuff like that. And so it was about me scribbling down some thoughts about that. And actually, if I were to go with my children, of course my children would remember me, but as time goes by, that the memory of the real you, it will fade. And then the term "speaking for the dead" actually came as I would say inspired by a book I read, this science fiction book by this guy called Orson Scott Card. He wrote a book called "Speaker for the Dead." So yeah, it's kind of and that's so the song is not about that book, but the thing that inspired me from that title and from that book was like in some distant future they have this character called Speaker for the Dead, who one of his functions would be he would give these eulogies over dead people, but with a objectively true account of that person's life, rather than the eulogies we give where we highlight all the great stuff that we have done and stuff like that. So I thought that was kind of an interesting perspective on memory of dead people, and so it's a bit different than most of our other lyrics, a bit more philosophically, you could say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was definitely a cool song, and I mean, I guess that makes sense. That's cool that your inspiration was from a book.
Yeah.
So that's always
nice.
We
do read books sometimes. Yeah.
You know what? It's so rare to see people reading books anymore these days. You know, it's everyone's online. Books are online. They're audio now. You put headphones on, it gets read to you.
We are in very many aspects of life old school guys.
Yeah. When was the last time you picked up a book and read it from beginning to end? Book, not magazine.
Oh yeah, Jesper.
The last time I read a book, I picked up
Both
a book last night. I'm finishing off Scott Ian's autobiography called "I'm the Man," so it's pretty good. It's a good read, and I can recommend it. And
so you are still a current reader. That is awesome, man. Mad respect on that. I used to be a very, very big reader until modern technology and puberty. So it's my social life began.
Yeah.
You know. But
you get easily distracted these days, and
I used to be a very, very big book reader. I could go through literally 3 books in 2 days that were like 500 pages each. My parents couldn't get me out of my room. Now they can't get me to come home, you know, or they can't, you know. But
I think,
so do you think that the dead have a voice?
I think that play a huge role in our life, in our memories, and people you love when you lose them. Of course, they then they move from real life into our, what you could say, our story of who we are and our memories. So, but of course not in everyday life. You just go on and but when you meet up with family and friends, and obviously when you have lost somebody who was important to all, that's of course natural that you will talk about the people you lost.
Right.
I think it's both lyric, and he describes it perfectly. That's what I think it's great about it. But also as a father of teenagers, it gets in and out of my head all the time. How will they remember me? What will I be to them? What will
Right.
my legacy be? Not to be kind of overblowing it, but
No.
it kind of strikes my mind more and more as older as they get. It's like, how do they see me?
Right.
It's a pretty big thing for me. We all want to be remembered for something great, but how? what did I do for the last 18 years that they will remember?
What is the true account of Jesper?
Yeah, exactly. So I
Right.
put a lot of thought into it, but with kind of Bo and Christian writes a lot of lyrics, and I usually come in when they run out of topics. So,
It's too funny.
yeah.
So now, I wanted to ask you, just random thought, my personal random thought and question. So I figured I'd ask this. Now I noticed your two albums. Well, the first one being called Hell's Gates, and the second one being Beyond the Gates.
Yeah.
Do you have a death obsession?
Oh, sorry, what was the question?
Do you have an obsession with death, or?
No, actually,
I'm not asking that in a twisted way. I mean, we all do
no.
some degree.
I mean, of course, metal and death. That's things that of
Hand
course
in hand.
cliches, but the title Hell's Gate, that's the title track of our first album, and actually, it was Christian who wrote that lyric. But it's about we had all these refugees in Europe crossing the Mediterranean, going through Turkey, and I guess you got it in
Right.
the US, all the people from Latin America going up through the deserts and trying to get in, and they're trying to get into to Europe and to into the US and to the Western civilization and all the great comfort of life that we have here compared with wherever they come from, Afghanistan, Africa, the Middle
Right.
East, and it was inspired by all these. In 2015, you had a lot of people just hammering on the borders of Europe, and they were stuck in terrible camps, living under an open sky, different places in Europe and stuff. And then we just
Right.
thought that must be like being at the gate of hell. And then
So it's not so much a fascination,
no,
but it's about reality.
yeah. And then like Beyond the Gates, that's what even though they managed to come into, I guess, US or Europe, life is still hell for a lot of those people. I mean,
Yeah.
still living in camps scattered over Eastern Europe and
Right.
or working terrible jobs, not getting paid and not being treated very good by governments and authorities, at least in Europe. Nobody really wants those people. Nobody really wants to welcome them. Of course, there's a lot of individuals in Europe, and I guess also in the States that do work and want to help these people. But at a government level, we're not very impressed by the effort to
Right.
help those people, I would say.
Yeah. See, I'm just saying this from a personal opinion, and I know many will agree with me on the American side. Our government cares more about helping foreigners and other people than they do their own damn American people. And I just said that. Yes, I did. Okay. They're doing a lot more for everyone out of the country, all the foreigners and all the illegals, and they are doing for their own people, and they're taking us down to
well,
accommodate
that's
them.
definitely not the
That's
case in
fucked
Europe.
up.
But, yeah.
You know, I'm just saying that, you know, I'm just calling that one out. But it's not about us or per se. So I'm moving on from that. I'm just calling that one out. But so I mean, those are two really killer songs. You know, do you have another song you're going to be releasing soon from the album?
Not anything that we have planned a video for. So, but who knows if we get bored. I mean, we are an independent band, and all the stuff we do, it's something that we do ourselves. So we did the videos ourselves, or not completely by ourselves, because we had help of Esben's son, Legolas, who shot the video, and then we edited. Christian edited the video ourselves. So every time we do stuff like that, it's something we have to come up with a good idea, and of course set up use the time on it. But so yeah, in terms of the future, it's more like putting up some gigs and planning for the tour of Finland and stuff like that.
But we actually have 3 more songs that didn't make it on the album, but we're trying to decide what to do with them. So,
what about an EP? Have you guys considered ever dropping an EP?
Yeah, that would definitely be a possibility, but I think we will definitely release something in the autumn. But if it'll be an EP or just a single or stuff like that, that's undecided as we speak. Yeah,
you got nothing but time.
Yeah, that's.
Maybe a 45.
Yes, I'm just saying. Yeah, don't bring back 8 tracks. We'll leave that one behind, though.
All right. Yeah.
So, in the meantime, okay, so you guys dropped your album, and that's been doing really good. What have you been doing in the meantime since then?
I mean, we have done a lot of what you could say marketing of the album, because it dawned to us that it's not just enough to release it; you also have to promote it. I mean, so. We've been writing to places, radio stations and fan signs and magazines and bookers and stuff like that, and it's actually, I think, at our level, gone quite well, and the album's been reviewed in a lot of different places in the UK, in Germany, and Portugal, Italy, and stuff like that.
Sweden.
And, Sweden, and Denmark, in our home country also. People have noticed it. So, and we just been pushing on, getting people to listen to the album, and trying to set up some shows and connecting with other bands. So
Well, like I tell everyone every time, you know, anytime you got a new song release coming out, new album, don't hesitate. Send it to me. I'll be happy to throw it up.
Yeah, sure do that going forward. And, thanks for having us, man.
Wow.
Yeah. So now you guys got a bunch of shows coming up, right?
Yeah, we got the Finland. We got 5 shows there, and then one in Copenhagen, and we are trying to set up some more shows in Denmark, different parts of Denmark. So yeah, stay posted, and we'll let you know as soon as they occur. But again, we are an independent band. We don't have any promotion agents or bookers, so we do all the email correspondence ourselves. And actually, so far, it's been working out for us. And I mean, I think it's kind of course, it'd be nice to have a big record deal and all people working for you.
Right.
But actually, I mean, you learn a lot by doing it yourself, and you learn how the mechanism works. And it's not just enough to have some good songs. Of course, that's the base of it, but you have to. The more people you know, the easier it gets to get out there. So try to build on that.
Right. You know, technology has come definitely a long way from the 80s, where everything was word of mouth and standing on the streets, handing out the flyers directly. You know, you say the bands don't have to rely on their album or anybody else to select who they want to promote to. You guys can, the bands themselves, you guys can take it to the next level. And there's so many more of us who are more involved because of technology, that, a lot of these labels, of course, there's always the big labels who are always going to still be the badasses when it comes down to it. But it comes to the point where there's so many smaller end bands who are becoming their own label.
I mean, so the possibilities are endless, but of course you have to put in the work, because there are also a lot out there. And it actually is making the competition. You would think it's making it easier because you're getting out there.
but
Yeah.
there's so many people doing it now
Yeah, and you have to,
that it's actually making it harder.
and things live short, right? So people don't. I mean, you put out something great out, and then
Mhm.
and then the next day something new comes. So you have to, and
Right. You know, I'm waiting for the next 5 platforms to come. I don't even want to get off the one that I'm on now, and there's already like 16 of them. It's like, dude, I can't keep up with one. You know?
Yeah, sometimes it feels a bit unfair. You're using a year and a half doing a record, and then
Right. That's what I'm
3 months
saying.
later, well, when is the next one coming? But
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's the name of the game, and you have to try to make it in that world. And
Yeah.
as
You got to
say,
stay on top of it, you know, or
it's
just sit back like I do and just go.
I mean, 20 years ago, I think being interviewed live from, I mean, Chicago and Denmark, that was not something that we.
Yeah, this
was
stuff
on our
didn't
radar, you could say.
exist
So
5
now
years
it's
ago, you
It
know?
can happen. Yeah, it can happen. So, and that's
That's what I love about doing what I
cool.
do. You know, I can introduce, you know, so many bands from all over the world, you know, and you know, I've done at least a dozen from Europe. I've done a few from Australia, you know, I've done a couple from Canada. You know, it's really cool to introduce people to other countries, not just what's here from coast to coast, but from around the world,
Yeah.
you know. And we're, you know, a lot of our music is influenced from the European music, just like, you know, and vice versa. You guys look at American music and you're influenced by it, you know?
Yeah, it's been like back and forth since the 50s,
Yeah.
I guess, right? The British
It's a
bands
beautiful thing.
inspiring the American bands, and yeah, so back and forth. So
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It works. And I'm happy to be in the middle to help make that happen.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Absolutely. You guys, I wanted to thank you for making this time out. I'm sorry about a few of the computer glitches. I hope the second video was a lot clearer than the first one. Did that come out okay? Was the sound okay on that one?
No, it was a bit of the same, but
Really? I wonder if it's just a Wi-Fi connection from, you know, the distance. I don't know. Because it was clear on my end, so I didn't hear nothing.
Yeah.
all
So
right,
I'm
yeah,
sorry
maybe.
about that. You know, I don't know. YouTube, who knows? I don't know. But do you have any messages for your fans and future fans?
I would just say, I mean, if you like what you see, go follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and get the news. And if you want us to come out and play, just get hold of us, because that's what we live for, and we'll play anyway. Of course, it have to make sense, but I mean, I mean, it's all about the experiences for us. So we wanna make it happen and play in front of people.
Hell yeah. And if they wanted to find any merch or anything, where can they find you? What platforms?
We have a Bandcamp site, so just go to Bandcamp if you know that, and type in Social Decline, and there you will have. You can buy our vinyls. You can buy both albums on vinyl, and we have
on the vinyls. Everyone, get on that.
And we have some T-shirts, and we also have some patches that will get up there soon. So, and we'll ship worldwide. So yeah, get in there on Bandcamp, and you can listen to our music. You can. Yeah, we're not very financially smart people, so you can actually also download free digital copies of the album on Bandcamp. But we just want to have it out. I
call myself out all the time too. It's great. Well, you guys, it was awesome meeting you. Thank you for making this time again. And when you start releasing more music, don't hesitate. Just throw it out there. I'll be more than happy to put it up for you guys. What I do.
Definitely. Yeah.
All right. Everyone, for those of you who might have missed it, if you don't know, this is Social Decline from Denmark. And, you know, they got 2 albums out already, and you need to check them out. And there's more to come. They're just starting. They're still babies. All right, you guys, again, thank you so much. Get your hand fixed and just, you know, kill it. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And bye. Yeah.
All right, guys, you have a beautiful night. For everybody else, happy Mother's Day from me and to you and to everyone, and from the Savage Ladies of Metal. Man, love and respect, you guys. Take care.
Take care.
You too.